Welcome to the HowtoPMP Webinar series, Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal Management Basics. In this session, we'll review features and capabilities of Microsoft's Teams Rooms Pro Management, a powerful tool for planning, deploying, managing, and operating your rooms. We'll discuss how to set up and configure Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal, how to manage users and permissions, settings, and updates. Microsoft offers a portfolio of purpose-built portals: Entra, Exchange, Endpoint Management, Teams Admin Center, and Teams Rooms Pro Management, each designed to serve a distinct persona and operational need. Together, they form a unified ecosystem that reflects our One Microsoft strategy, empowering every role with the right tools while ensuring seamless integration and shared intelligences across the platform. In the context of Teams Rooms, each Teams Rooms requires a resource account, which is an identity that is created in Microsoft's Entra Admin Center. That resource account requires an email address and a calendar to book that room. That's set up in Exchange. If you have device compliance policies, those are managed through Intune and Microsoft's Endpoint Manager. And for everything's Teams related, you have Teams Admin Center, and then for device management, you have the Pro Management Portal. The Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal enables inventory management, analytics and reports, and incident reporting and remediation for meeting rooms of all types with multiple devices, all in a single pane of glass. The AI-driven platform monitors, applies learning, and provides proactive insights to help prevent issues before they become a productivity-impacting problem and reduce the number of in-room touches that are needed by IT. With our Teams Rooms Partner Locator on the web, customers can find the expertise needed for planning, device purchase and deployment, and ongoing management for rooms of all sizes. There are 4 stages of a life cycle of a room: planning a room, installing a room, operating a room, and replacing the room. Teams Rooms Pro Management has 4 pillars that provides tools for each stage of the life cycle: planning and inventory, monitoring and operations, update management, and reporting and insights. Teams Rooms devices are purposefully created. They are comprised of a Teams Rooms application, the Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal agent, the underlying operating system, whether Windows or Android, the OEM firmware, and in the case of Android devices, there is also a company portal app and an authenticator app too. The Teams Rooms device communicates to the Pro Management Portal through the PMP agent into the cloud, where back-end services and the portal are hosted. In order to provision the Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal, your tenant requires at least a Teams Rooms Pro or Basic license or a Teams Shared Device license. And if your environment is set up with proxies, there will be additional configuration that you will have to do that is documented on our Learn site. Otherwise, this step is optional. And there are some additional service URLs that must be added to your network allow list to ensure that the portal works correctly. The following is the list of required URLs. We ask that you add all URLs to your allow list to ensure that there is no disruption in service in case of a failover. Role-Based Access Control, or RBAC, helps you manage user access to room resource data in your organization. By assigning roles to your portal users, you can limit what they can see and change. To see roles, in the left navigation of the Teams Rooms Pro portal, go to Roles. A role defines the set of permissions granted to users assigned to that role. The Microsoft Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal respects Entra Global Administrators, Teams Admins, Teams Device Admins, and the Global Reader role. It also has 3 built-in roles: Teams Rooms Pro Manager, Site Lead, and Site Technician. They cover some common scenarios for users in your organization that may be involved in managing your rooms. Each role has a set of properties, permissions, and assignments. A Teams Rooms Pro Manager has permission to access all features and rooms within the Pro Management Portal. A Teams Room Pro Site Lead has less permissions. A Teams Room Pro Site Technician has the least amount of permissions. And if these default role permissions don't work for your organization, you can create custom roles and adjust the permissions as necessary for that role. Assignments are user-defined to scope specific rooms or groups of rooms to specific members within a role. When an organization has different people or groups of people doing the same type of room work but may be responsible for a different region, location, campus, or floor, you can create separate assignment groups and scope to just those members and rooms. If you want email notifications on alerts generated by the Pro Management Portal to be sent to members in this assignment, make sure to enable the checkbox for email notifications. Assigning members to an assignment is easy. Microsoft Teams Rooms Pro Management integrates your Azure Active Directory to search for users or security groups to be added to an assignment group. Now it's time to define the scope of rooms that the members in this assignment will be given access to in the Pro Management Portal. You can assign individual rooms or by room groups. When you're finished scoping the rooms, click to save the assignment. That's it. You can create as many assignments for a role as needed by your organization or create unlimited custom roles. Remember, only users who have been given a role assignment with a specific scope of rooms will only be able to see those rooms in the Pro Management Portal. Groups are used as filters within the Pro Portal to limit the view to a specific group of rooms, and are also used as a method to assign rooms to roles. Rooms are not automatically added to groups, nor are they based on Azure AD groups. Each organization must create their own room groupings to suit their needs. Creating groups is straightforward. Click on the Create New Group, and a flyout will appear. Name your group of rooms. You can create groups by locations, regions, or by types of rooms. For example, you might want a group that just says VIP rooms. Rooms can be added to as many groups as you want, and there are no limits on the number of groups you can have. Adding rooms to a group can be done with the search filter. Only rooms that are managed in the portal can be selected for a group. You can also use the search to locate rooms based on their Azure AD attributes, like country, state or province, city, building, device type, but only if the data exists on the room resource account. If the search isn't returning the results you are looking for, then look to your Inventory tab to review the data defined about the room. A list of rooms will be returned based on your search. You can add one or as many rooms as necessary by selecting the radio buttons. Add them to the group. And when you're finished, click Done. You can also edit, clone, or delete groups. It won't delete the room, just the group created. Remote access for Teams rooms on Windows. By default, remote access is not enabled for your Teams rooms. You must enable the feature for your Teams Rooms Pro Management tenant. Remote access is controlled through role-based access control. There are two permissions, one to access the device in a view-only mode, and the modify permission, which grants full keyboard control over the remote session. Teams Rooms Pro Manager admins have the modify permission on by default. If you would like to enable the site leads or site technicians, it is recommended to create a custom role in order to grant permissions. For Teams Rooms Pro Management users with the correct role-based access control assignment, a remote access tab will be available for Teams Rooms on Windows managed in the Pro Management Portal. To start a session, press the Start Session button. A secure connection is made to the device by authenticating the user's permission with a token that can only be established through the Pro Management Portal. If the proper permissions are in place and the device is not in a call, a remote session will be established. A data channel is created to stream the frames representing the Teams Rooms console and the front of room displays to a modal window within the user's Pro Management session. With the Modify permission, the permissioned user has full keyboard control of the device. For security purposes, audio is disabled. And with the proper passwords, administrator control is enabled. You can also choose between the front of room displays if you have more than one Both front of room displays will be available. There are also limited shortcut commands, and keep in mind there is no copy and paste on purpose. There's also a restart after the session is enabled by default. Portal Help. The Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal has a homepage where we communicate new features that have been released and alerts on any trending issues. We also provide links to the Teams Rooms Open Hour call, which is held each Wednesday, where anyone can ask questions to the engineering team. If you need help with your Teams Rooms or the Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal, we ask that you open a Microsoft support case. For Teams Rooms Pro Management users who are also assigned a help desk role in Entra, a support link is available, as indicated by a headset icon, to open a case directly from the portal. Support cases are routed based on your support agreement, and if necessary, Microsoft support will escalate to our engineering teams. The Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal has an AI assistant where you can interact with the portal using everyday language to answer what, where, and how-to questions or extract health and inventory data. AI-generated content can contain mistakes as the model learns and grows. Please provide feedback on what's working or not. To use the AI assistant, it does require that you have a Teams Rooms Pro license for your tenant and that you are either a global administrator, Teams administrator, or have a Teams Rooms Pro Manager role. In the upper right-hand corner of the portal, there is a gear icon where you can customize your language settings. Configuration Management. For Teams Rooms on Windows, you are able to manage individual device settings remotely from the portal. Your role assignment must have the Modify permission enabled under the Room Management permission. From the Room's dashboard, you can access a room's settings by selecting the Settings tab. You can change any setting to apply it to the device. You will be given an option to apply the setting immediately or to schedule it to apply in the nightly maintenance window in order to avoid any disruption during the day. If you have digital signage enabled, you will need to apply the digital signage settings changes independently of any other settings. For more in-depth details on how to use this feature to apply settings, there is a dedicated video that can be found at aka.ms/PMP Windows Settings. For Teams Rooms Pro Management administrators, a job can be created to apply one or more settings to one or more Teams Rooms on Windows devices through the Teams Rooms Pro Management portal. The Device Settings feature is available under Settings on the left navigation. Bulk device setting changes can be performed by a Pro Portal administrator, Global Admin, Teams Admin, or a Teams Device Administrator role. To create a device settings job, click the Create Job button, and a wizard will be presented to walk you through selecting the setting changes, the rooms that they should be applied to, and when they should be applied. Certain configurations that are unique to a particular room equipment cannot be changed across multiple rooms and will therefore not be available in the wizard. The device setting job acts as a parent container for each of the individual jobs that execute for the selected setting changes across the devices selected. When selecting either the Apply Now or Schedule during the nightly maintenance window, the parent job creates individual jobs for each room device selected. At the individual room level, you can see the job under the Room Activity pane. If the device is in a call or unmonitored, the individual job can fail or be rescheduled for another attempt to apply the settings change. Once you schedule the device job, you'll have an overall status of the completion of the parent job along with the status for each of the individual device settings jobs. If one of the individual jobs fails, the parent job is reflected as completed with errors. An export button has been provided to download the entire job details along with the statuses of each individual job, and a filter has been added to easily sort on a parent job status. At this time, a job can only be run once. If a specific room failed to execute the change, create a new job to try again. For Teams devices on Android, device setting changes are made through a configuration profile, which is a template of settings that can be applied across a number of devices. We have made changes in the current configuration profile design to support partial application of configuration profiles. With this update, you can now configure and apply only the necessary settings without unintentionally overriding other existing settings on the devices for specific OEMs. If a configuration profile is assigned to a device that doesn't support partial application of configuration profiles, then all the settings in the profile, included those left unconfigured, will be applied with their default values, which is basically the behavior of the previous implementation of configuration profiles. To create, edit, or delete a configuration profile, in Teams Admin Center in the left navigation under Teams Devices, select the Teams device type, Configuration Profiles. To add a configuration profile, click Add. Enter a name of the profile and optionally add a friendly description. By default, all the settings in the profile will be in a not configured state. Change the settings you want for the profile from not configured to the required value, and then click Review Changes. A Review Configured Settings pop-up appears. Compare and review the current and new values of the settings that were changed. Click on Save Changes, and the newly created configuration profile is displayed in the list of existing profiles. After creating a configuration profile for a Teams device type, assign it to one or more devices. In the Assign Configuration pane, search for the configuration profile to assign to those selected devices, and then click Apply. For those devices that were selected to apply the configuration profile, only the settings that were changed will be configured on the device. The status of the configuration profile assignment for that device can be reviewed under the History tab. The overall health of a room is greatly improved when all room devices are up to date with the proper firmware. All updates come through Windows Update and will be applied in the Teams Rooms Nightly Maintenance window. Microsoft Teams Rooms Pro Management allows you to control when updates are applied to your room fleet through a concept of rings. Rings provide the ability to group rooms into different populations for a more controlled, timed rollout of any update. Rooms are evaluated during the nightly maintenance window on whether they are a candidate for an update. If so, the update will be flighted to the tenant for visibility. Then it will be determined if it's time for the device to get the update, depending on the ring where they had been assigned. In order to view or modify updates, you must be assigned these permissions for the role you've been assigned. All OEM updates come through Windows Updates and will be flighted in the Teams Rooms Pro Management portal if any of your devices are targeted as needing that update. New Windows feature updates aren't offered on Microsoft Teams Rooms devices immediately. The Teams Rooms application controls when the appropriate certified Windows feature update should be applied. For your ring configuration, there are 3 default rings: a staging, general, and executive ring, which work for most customers, but you can create as many rings as you like. Each ring can be configured for a duration of time that the system observes before moving to the next ring. There are 2 specific attributes for each ring configuration. One is rollout days, and the other is test period. The combination of these 2 numbers makes up the length of time in days for this particular ring. For a ring that has a rollout day, for example, equal to 2, the total number of rooms in that ring will be randomly divided by 2, which means on day 1 of the ring, half of the rooms in that ring will receive the update, and on day 2, the remaining other half will receive the update. The test period is the number of days you want to test or just wait to see if any issues emerge before rolling on to the next ring. So for the same ring as just illustrated, and your test days is equal to 5, you would have a 7-day ring. 2 days for the rollout, plus 5 days for testing. On day 8, the next ring would begin automatically. When an update is released through Windows Update, it will not be flighted in your Updates dashboard until the ring, which has the first device that meets that update criteria, is observed. When you click into a flighted update, you will notice that each update has a name and a description that is defined by the OEM. There is a character limit on the description that is imposed by Windows Update, which may prevent clarifying exactly what is contained in that update. To understand all that is in a particular OEM update, please refer to the OEM's website. There is also a start date of the update, which is the date that the update was first observed by the Teams Rooms Pro Management service to be available for one of your devices. There are several statuses for updates. Not required, which means that this update is not required for this device. If the update is applicable to the device, it will remain in not required until the device's ring is reached and the device is evaluated. Scheduled means that the device has been targeted for the update, and it is scheduled based on the rollout day's configuration. Completed means that the device has successfully completed the update. Failed means that an attempt was made to update the device and was unable to do so. There are 3 consecutive nightly maintenance window attempts to apply an update. If you have devices in a failed update state, create a Microsoft support case and attach Teams Rooms Pro Management Agent logs, as well as the window update logs, and the support organization will help you identify what caused the failure. And lastly, there's a canceled state, which means that the OEM has sent through a cancellation through Windows Updates because a newer version has been released and supersedes this one. Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal gives you the ability to pause an update, restart a paused update, or even force an update on one or many devices outside of their ring band, as long as you have the proper permissions. To pause an update, just click on the pause button, and it will ask you to enter a reason for that pause. Paused updates stay paused forever. However, if a new update to a particular piece of software or firmware is released, it does not respect its previously paused update state. If required, you will need to repause the newer update. To apply an update to a device outside of its ring band, you can force the update to the device. You have 2 choices when forcing an update to a device: install immediately or install when available. When choosing to install immediately, it will schedule a job to apply the update now, regardless if the device is in a call. It usually takes between 1 to 5 minutes before the job executes. As a precaution, only perform the install immediately action when you are absolutely sure the room is not in use. Should you choose to install when available, the update will be scheduled to execute in the nightly maintenance window to avoid any disruptions during the day. Select the device or devices you want to force the update on by selecting the radio buttons next to the device. Then click Submit. There are several best practices that we recommend for updates. Put your devices into rings and allow updates to be automatically applied according to the ring configuration. This approach helps in the overall predictability and maintenance of applying updates to your devices. Rollback updates is not supported. Many things on the device can be affected by an update. A clean rollback is not always possible. Therefore, the best practice is to apply a newer update when available or reimage the device. Remember to review release notes on a regular basis. They can be found at https:// aka.ms/mtr release notes. And lastly, all update management should be done through the Pro Management portal. Updates delivered through any other management tool is not supported. Teams Rooms devices on the Android platform are still managed within Teams Admin Center. There are only 3 rings to assign your devices into. A validation ring, which is a 15-day ring. It is best for lab or test devices on which you can carry out any validation you need to perform. Devices in this phase will start updating as soon as the latest software version is released and will complete all updating within the first 15 days. Then there is a general ring, which is a 30-day ring. This is the default option for newly onboarded devices and is also the best ring for your general population. Devices in this ring start updating on day 16 after the latest software version was released and will finish updating by day 45. And lastly, there is a third ring called Final, which is also a 15-day ring. This option is best for high visibility rooms and after large-scale validation is completed. Devices in this phase start updating as soon as day 46 after the latest software version was released and will finish updating by day 60. Teams Rooms app, device firmware, the company portal app, and the admin agent app are all available for manual or automatic updates. Updates do happen automatically by default, but you can select to manually update the device by scheduling a specific date and time or scheduling it for the next nightly maintenance window. To summarize, in this video, you learned how to initially set up Teams Rooms Pro Management portal. You learned about role-based access control, setting up groups, how to remote access into Teams Rooms on Windows devices, utilizing the different ways of portal help, configuration management, and finally, updates management across Teams Rooms on Windows devices and Teams devices on Android. If you'd like to learn more, go to https://aka.ms/learnpmp. Thanks for watching.